Pause. We have to move on to our movie review. I can't talk right now.
Where we reviewed Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. I'm not going to get
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Directed by Peyton Reed, not Edgar Wright, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was weird. There's a lot of stuff in the teaser that they had last year for Comic-Con. A lot of stuff they took out. Like, God, who played the woman? Who played Wasp?
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah, they're supposed to be dating.
Already?
No, in the old test footage, the old script.
Oh yeah, they had an established relationship.
Yeah, and she's supposed to be kind of weak, and she came in and said pretty much like, I don't like this, change this. I want to be a strong character. Now I can kick ass. That's why they have that fight scene where like she's all like tough.
I actually liked it though. I like that they changed.
Well, I'm not saying it's bad. Yeah. It's just they changed a lot of stuff from the old director.
Yeah, well, yeah, they had to do a lot of rehauling of the movie because Edgar Wright left because when he was actually in development in that movie before Iron Man came out. He was attached to write and direct Ant-Man. It was supposed to come out, I think, in Phase 1 of Marvel. I think it was supposed to be like, or even the first Phase 2 movie. It was supposed to be out already.
I can understand because he is one of the original members.
But the reason why is because production got halted a little bit. They were supposed to go into production because he had an obligation to finish, to do this movie in the Cornetto trilogy, to do World's End. So he's like, well, that's not going to take me that long. It'll take 6 months max to make that movie. And he did the movie, and he came back, and by the time he came back, the entire cinematic universe had just changed to a point where his script that he had written that was going to go into production was not going to be at all like any of the other Marvel movies they had made at that point. And it was going to stick out like a sore thumb, and...
I heard it was funnier.
Huh?
I heard it was funnier.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt if it was funnier. But it was just going to be so much different than what they've done, and Kevin Feige wanted him to change it to kind of fit more of the universe they had already formed, and he's like, I don't think I can change it. I don't want to change it. Like I've had this vision for since 2008. Like I don't know if I can do what you're asking. And they got into the conflict, and they left, and he left. He consciously decided like, I'm not gonna be able to make the movie I want, and I don't want to do that to you guys, so I'm leaving.
Well, it's still a good movie.
It's still a good movie. I mean, I'm not complaining. I was really worried that it was going to be a disaster because because Peyton Reed, his biggest claim to fame is freaking Bring It On. He directed Bring It On, and I'm like, oh god, they're bringing in the guy who directed Bring It On, and then I find out he's a big Ant-Man fan. He's like a huge Ant-Man fan.
Like, who's an Ant-Man fan?
He is apparently. Why do you think he made Bring It On? He obviously doesn't. He didn't choose his influences wisely, but it works out for him because he finally got to make an Ant-Man movie. And he made it with so much respect to the character of Hank Pym and Scott Lang that when they tackle that unique approach of how to do it with Hank Pym already being Ant-Man, so it's not an origin story per se, but it still kind of is. You were able to see he got a really good performance out of Michael Douglas too. Yeah,
that was cool, especially the opening when it was young Michael Douglas.
You mean Gordon Gekko?
Huh?
Gordon Gekko Reborn?
Sure.
Is it Gordon Gekko?
I don't know. Is this a reference?
Wall Street.
Oh, okay. I never watched it.
Greed is good.
Wow. Okay.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. You don't watch anything that isn't nerdy. Anyway, for those of you who liked Wall Street, you will get that reference. But
okay. But yeah,
he was a badass.
Yeah, they younged up him. It looked crazy.
It looked real.
It looks real?
Yeah. Hank Pym's all young because it took place in the 70s. It looked
10 times better than Terminator. Than young Arnold.
Yeah, well, they did a good job on that.
They did a good job, but I mean,
let's just kind of Photoshop your face.
The reason why I say it looked better is because in Terminator, Arnold wasn't acting. He didn't have to do much to move his face. It wasn't as bad as Terminator Salvation looked. You could tell it was a CG. The Terminator Genesis you could still tell it was CG, but he didn't have to move his face that much. What I liked about the Ant-Man CGI was he was acting. You can see his emotions still, even though they younged up his face.
Yeah, talking. It was a long scene too.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be 2 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah, they find out that he's stealing Hank Pym's Pym particles.
Yeah.
And they pretty much say we have it. You can leave if you want. And one brings up his wife. Yeah, and he punches him in the face.
Oh,
and-
Are we doing spoiler review?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Spoils.
Alright.
It's still out
Welcome-
in theaters, and I actually want people to see this movie.
Watch it anyway. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
We'll review. I'll give our ratings later, but we're spoiling it. Welcome
Okay.
to Nerdy Geeky Freaky.
We spoil everything. A month after the movie comes out, though. Yeah, that has been out a month already.
Yeah, it's
So if you haven't seen it by now, I guess it's fair game. But I don't like when there's a movie I actually want people to see. I don't like spoiling it. When there's a movie I don't want people to see, I'll spoil the hell
Like
out
you
of
just
it.
fast forward through the video.
Like,
a
I'll
little
probably-
bit for the spoiler part. You're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just like
Okay.
through.
This
And
is
Pim
the
dies.
signal. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spoiler.
Spoiler territory. All right.
okay. So yeah,
Oh, but before we go actually to spoiler territory, ignore that first warning. See this movie; it was really good. Now we're gonna go to the spoilers.
so it's a good superhero movie. It's good. Michael
It's a heist movie. I liked it. It was a heist movie, but set in the world of superheroes.
kind of. It's just make a lot of references. Jeez, I'm surprised they didn't mention the incident in New York too. While like
Well, I know, but that was like 4 years ago. They mentioned the incident in where the hell are they from again? I forgot.
Agents of Shield, I mentioned the incident. What?
No, I'm talking about where Age of Ultron. They mentioned what happened in Age of Ultron, basically, in Ant-Man.
Do
Too
they?
busy, yeah. When like the Avengers are probably too busy dropping cities on,
Oh, it's yeah. They make a lot of references to everyone.
and they actually show the new Avengers facility, and it's pretty cool. There's a pretty cool fight scene in there.
Oh,
I don't want to
that's
spoil
cool.
that because Danica still has to see the movie too.
All right.
Okay, he fights an Avenger.
He fights an Avenger,
Okay.
It's cool. And he's all nice about like I'm sorry, and stuff.
Yeah.
and he wins. That's
Yeah.
what's really cool.
That is cool.
Of course, he's gonna
I
win.
still
It's
want
his
to
movie.
see it though. So.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
still
good
going
movie.
to.
This
You
is
can
like-
spoil it. It's
Yeah.
alright. I'm gonna see it anyway.
Okay, sorry.
Eventually.
Okay, Danica says we can spoil
Well,
it
ask
now.
questions.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
New type of review.
What did you guys just love about it? What was
The
your
comedy.
favorites? The comedy.
I love the comedy in it.
Well, I like the comedy from the commercials. What I already seen on the commercials.
Yeah.
It was the funniest Marvel movie I've seen, but it's not a pure comedy. That's what I liked about it. Like Michael Pena, the guy who plays Luis, hilarious.
Oh yeah, they have this one. His buddies, his old prison buddies, are pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she left me. All
Yeah.
happy about it.
Yeah, he left me. My dad died.
But
I got the
you got
van.
I got the van though.
Yeah, so his stuff, the stuff they use when the flashbacks, when they're going like, I heard this from this, and they're going
Yeah.
from people. It's his voice. So it's like a girl talking about. I heard about this one dude has a safe and stuff, and it's his voice telling the story.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
That was clever.
That was clever. And then what I really liked about it is that they actually showed like a lot of Hank Pym Ant-Man more than I thought they would. Like with they showed that little video clip of Hank Pym obviously being the one causing all that chaos in that Soviet camp or something like that.
Yeah.
Or was 10 rings. It was 10 rings actually. That was a little hint to the 10 rings before the ones that
The man
kidnapped Tony.
Oh, okay.
In the first Iron Man.
Mm.
And then they showed Wasp. They showed the original Wasp.
Yeah,
which
that was
I didn't
cool.
think
They
they were
actually
gonna
showed
do.
Wasp, and then, like he had the wings. Basically, it was just Ant-Man with wings.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I wonder why he never thought about making wings for himself.
Because I don't know, he likes to ride.
Anthony?
Anthony. Well, it was before Anthony. He likes to ride his bugs.
Yeah, he does like to ride. There are a lot. They makes you feel bad for bugs
Yeah.
when you step on them. Maybe
I-
not you, but me.
I let him kill bugs.
Your cats
Uh,
kill bugs.
Well, that's cats.
Yeah, true.
How do you like the 3D?
I thought it was the best use of 3D. and
Really good for 3D.
Really good for 3D, especially because how they shot this movie. They used what's called macro photography.
Yeah, it kind of like
Or
zoomed in
micro
fast.
photography. Micro photography, where they used like pretty high powered lenses to
It was
capture.
colorful too.
It was photorealistic. It was all that stuff, the scenery you see when he's microscopic is a little CG, but I think it's all CG actually. But I think they use details from the micro photography. Like they pretty much take the image, CG it up a little bit to fit him in there, or it could be all real for all I know.
I'm pretty sure it's CG. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And they actually explained how he gets denser as he shrinks because he doesn't lose his density.
Yeah.
So there's part where he first gets on the suit and he's going like throughout the apartment and like trying to like he's freaking out because he didn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And he falls off a building. He falls like a couple stories and he lands on this little like cabbie. And you see like this puncture hole go in because he kind of like went thunk,
Yeah.
and then like he expands and stuff. So it made a good sense like for the science of to the comic,
Mm-hmm.
how the pin
Just try
particles.
and- yeah. explaining it. That's cool.
Yeah.
They
And
went into
they kind of hinted at that the fact that he might be able to get bigger too, because they showed that those instances where they use that.
giant
those
Ant-Man. Then it's Godzilla movie blended.
Yeah.
Well, they use that device to grow objects like the Thomas the Tank Engine and the ant. So that's a little hint that he might be able to Hank Pym might be able to mess with the particle a little bit to increase Scott's size and density.
Yeah, but it would, I guess, because Hank Pym is still working on it. But the thing was that in the old footage they showed of Ant-Man fighting for the U.S. and stuff, they never showed Giant Man. So it's just plain.
Well, I think because that's when he gave up on his research for the. I honestly think that when he started Pym Technologies, it was all an attempt to try to understand the quantum universe that Wasp got sucked into. Because Wasp gets sucked into this pocket universe called the quantum universe, where you forever shrink and continue to shrink at an atomic level, and you just get trapped there. And that's where Scott ends up at the end of the movie. But he ends up being able to get out of there by using the growing thing and putting it in.
Yeah, he gets shurikens that can shrink and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he puts it in his, what's it called?
He puts it in a little buckle that powers the Pym particles.
Yeah.
That makes sure he doesn't go and accidentally goes into the subatomic universe, and he had to because it's the only way to stop Yellow Jacket. And what'd you think of Yellow Jacket?
He was cool. He looked
My one gripe on that though is the little plot hole that they didn't explain that he tried to use the suit without the helmet or without the protection to keep the Pym particle from
that's the question.
messing with his mind.
That's the question I want to ask. He's all screwy in this one. What's his name?
Corey Soul,
Yeah, Gory Soul.
who plays what's his name in the
Darren Cross.
There you go.
Darren Cross. He's all screwy, all messed up because in the comic and in the movie, even Hank Pym, is all kind of freaked because a long exposure to the Pym particles messes with your mind in a way. Can you kind of get stressed out and a little weird?
Yeah.
Because it is still a new thing, untested. And so Hank Pym's kind of stressed out. He snaps every once and then. But Darren Cross, he's leader of this whole thing of shrinking stuff. Why is he screwed up? He's never been shrunk before.
That's the plot hole I'm talking about. They never show that he did shrink. Maybe they're saying that
There's a few plot holes. I got a list right here.
Okay. Maybe they're saying because in the thing, even though they didn't show
The
it,
old
that
script, right?
maybe in the old script.
Because
but
he must have been working with.
maybe there's a deleted scene in the final cut that didn't get into the final cut, where any exposure to the Pym particle, even not just shrinking, you know how he was always in the room when they were trying to shrink the sheep, and oh my god, they killed the sheep, man.
It's pretty sad. They kill a lot of sheep in this movie.
Yeah, and you know how he has he had that little ray gun that he used to
Yeah,
shrink.
he has a little ray gun.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's any exposure to when the Pym particle gets released that
So it's
causes
like
this-
kryptonite for Lex Luthor. It long exposure to around it. You get okay.
And because
I guess.
that's why Hank always keeps it in the vial, and he always says if you access the Pym particle, you got to have the helmet on.
Yeah, this is why I want to maybe do a sideshow called Nerd Logic, where you just talk about why was he screwed up.
Nerd
But,
logic. Yeah, I like that idea actually.
So Darren Cross, yeah, he's kind of
What other
screwed up
plot
for no reason, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really explain.
I would have liked it better if he was just a plain old sociopath, he didn't really care.
Yeah.
That would have been a better character arc for him.
That's what I thought it was at first, because he's all use another sheep, and it's he keeps he shrinks them, and they turn into this little puddle of goo, and it jiggles a little bit.
Yeah.
And he shows no sign of battle. I mean, other than that moment when he confronts Hank, and they have that kind of why didn't you ever bring me in?
And he's pathetic too. He's like, "Why don't you love me, Hank? I used to be your little apprentice." And
They
how
have a
come we're not
father-son
friends?"
relationship, and he just never felt he got all the attention.
Yeah.
He probably has daddy issues, and
Probably.
Hank Pym was his surrogate father, and his
Right.
surrogate father turned him away.
Yeah, so right there in front of Hank, he's like, "Why don't you love me?" And at work, he's like, "Bring in another sheep, kill this one. Bring in sheep number 258 and stuff." And he's just killing him at will just for spite because it's not working because he's frustrated. He's not tweaking
Yeah.
anything. But it's really weird. It's really sad how they kill the sheep.
Because I just want to see if all of them survive. Maybe one will survive.
Yeah.
One does survive.
Kind of. He puts this in this little cube thing, and he figured out that if it's it's not you can't shrink a person by themselves or an animal organic. You need a protective object around it. So if you shrink the object, it somehow doesn't shrink and squish the thing, it shrinks around that. But I'm sure it's kind of special metal like Hank Pym has around his armor.
Okay, then that brings up the plot hole I have. How did they shrink the freaking suit? The Yellow Jacket suit.
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe Hank Pym designed a Yellow Jacket suit because he does it in the comics. Maybe that's when
You think it's like a design from...
he's like, I want to fly. I'm sick of riding ants. I designed this Yellow Jacket suit. And he gets a phone call like, oh, look, they're still in my Pym particles. I'm going to go talk to the...
Or maybe Hank did design, like you said, he designed the Yellow Jacket suit, but he never put on file, like, you know, the Pym particle because he didn't want anybody to use it. The Pym particle was always going to be his. And he designed it kind of as a way of, like, a just in case.
That would make sense because in the movie, they don't have the Pym particle. They just have the suit. And they know the idea of shrinking stuff, and they had the footage of Hank Pym attacking. But it's weird because after they kind of crack it, in the helicopter scene when Scott Lang's fighting...
They don't even show him put it on.
They don't even show him put it on. They don't show him how he expands it. He has this little cube, and it's like, I got this suit, and I'm going to use it. Like, no, I'll stop you and stuff. And he's hanging onto the helicopter, and literally a second, he's like, I'm the suit now
It's
and
like,
stuff. Starts
And it
firing
was like
everywhere.
little?
Yeah, and they didn't show how he expanded it.
I thought they were at least going to show how they
Was
expanded
it in a box at least?
It
Did
was
he
still
take it out of a box?
It was still in the
And
little
it
box.
expanded?
No.
Did he take it out of a box?
Nothing. He was hanging onto a helicopter. He like,
He looks at the suitcase, and then the next thing you know, he's in the freaking suit.
yeah.
That's
Way bad.
That's an editing issue right there. That's probably like they probably have it shown, but like for pacing they just cut it and like, oh, no one's gonna really pay that much attention. That
Exactly. I'm
except
sure
for this
60
guy.
people up. Yeah. 60
Yeah, me too.
people
I
percent.
noticed it too.
Yeah,
I'm like,
didn't notice.
oh, come on. Why didn't they just show him putting on the suit? Because the suit's CG. The suit is 100% CG. It's not a practical suit.
The suit does look good.
Does look
That's
good.
why they
though.
couldn't show that.
That's why they probably couldn't show it.
It's
They
a
did-
lot better than the original Yellow Jacket costume with
I've
the
never
flaps on the shoulders. You haven't seen it?
Uh-uh.
You ever watched Avengers: Mightiest Heroes on?
New.
Oh, it's a good. You should watch Avengers. It's on. It used to be on Disney. It's on Netflix right now. There's two versions. The old version's not on. The new one, not so much. It's good, but that's probably the most. It's like watching the '90s X-Men cartoon.
But for Avengers.
Avengers. They do. It's awesome how
Okay.
how
Do
loyalty.
you have any other plot holes, or do you want to rate this thing already?
Why didn't Scott Lang? Not Scott Lang. Why didn't Hank Pym drop the charges for Scott Lang when he broke into his house instead of breaking him out with ants? Remember, he's in the jail cell.
He was in it was a parole violation. He was gonna go back to prison regardless.
Not if you drop the charges.
No, even if he dropped the charges, because he still committed a crime.
Why didn't they say that? They even mentioned it in the end of the movie. You're like, God, I keep forgetting the girl's name. The one with the bangs. Scott.
Oh,
Hank
you're
Pym's
right.
daughter.
Huh?
She's like, well, really should have dropped the charges instead of just going through all this because.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Hank Pym's like, I've been watching you for a long time. And
It
I'm
would have
like,
made more sense. Yeah, you're right. But maybe I don't know.
they wanted to use it.
Plot development.
No, they wanted to use it because they wanted I need him to be desperate. If he doesn't have anywhere to go, he'll have to do this because I don't want my daughter to be Ant-Man and risk her life. Because
I can see that. Like he didn't drop the charges because you're right. He needed Scott to be desperate.
but he already
No,
was
just
desperate, man. Just give him a job. You've been watching him for a while, at least 3 years, because he's been in prison.
But I think he needed him to believe that he probably wanted to test Scott in the suit to see if he could do more stuff.
Give him money and hire him. He can't even get hold of a job at Dairy. Oh, is it Dairy Queen or
No, Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins? Because
Baskin
Baskin Robbins
always finds out.
always finds out.
Oh.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I'm just taking it apart like I do.
Yeah.
He's still gonna give it a good score. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. All right, let's rate this sucker.
So good movie. I think that's all the rewrite show. Good 3D. It's not. That's the thing about the superhero Ant-Man. I want to say
He's not the most popular of the superheroes.
neither was Iron Man, but I ain't gonna see Ant-Man on pajamas. I'm not gonna see Ant-Man cereal. I'm not gonna see Ant-Man bed sheets. Not how
Yeah.
Iron Man was. It's a good movie, but it's not Iron Man. You should.
Unless you get
It's
ants
true.
and it's from National Geographic and you're.
Yeah, but it's a pretty good movie. Good movie. I'd watch it. I gave it 1 out of 10, 6 backhands and wasp face.
You gave it 1 out of 10.
Oh, sorry, 6 out of 10.
I was gonna say
Sorry, 6 backhands to
6
wasp
back-
face.
6 wasp backhands to the face.
Yeah.
Okay. My score is I did like the movie. It's a very funny movie. Has very good has some good dramatic moments, like with Hank and his daughter. I really like those moments. And even though I don't think he should have kept the secret about what happened to Wasp a secret from his daughter, because you can maybe you don't tell her at first, obviously,
I'm
that
just
she.
glad they told us in this movie.
Yeah, true.
Jeez, wait till the sequel to find out.
Chapter 2, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really like the dramatic moments, especially the dramatic moments with Scott Lang and his daughter too. You can tell he's really trying his best to be a good dad, but he's just in a bad situation. And yeah, I thought it was thoroughly entertaining throughout the whole entire movie. And other than the plot hole, I can forgive some of them, and not all of them, obviously. But I give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Same here.
Yeah, so
6.5 what?
6.5. I didn't think of one. 6.5 ant rides out of 10.
Okay, so it's a good movie. Very funny. It was funny.
It was funny.
All right. Well,
You
I'll
should see it. You should
I'll
definitely see it.
Yeah, we didn't mention spoil a whole lot. Like the end, we didn't spoil the ending, like all the stuff.
Yeah.
Even though you totally know how it's gonna end.
Apparently, what's it called? What's the company that they run?
Cross Industries
doesn't believe in the iCloud.
doesn't believe in the iCloud.
It doesn't, and basically for good reason, because it is Genesis and it is Skynet.
True. You just had to throw that in there, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay. What is next?